All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are here again today. Sister Audrey Muhammad is not with us. She's not feeling well, from what I know. Or she may be under the weather, or she may needed to take a day off to take care of herself. So, keep her in your prayers, and keep her. Um, Make sure she's safe. If you got a way to contact her, get in touch with her and let her know. Check on her, make sure she's well. Again, my name is Elliott McCants. I'm here with brother Mickey Jordan. I call him Uncle Mickey Free. Um, and I've got a couple of different things I want to talk about today. One thing, and I'm gonna need y'all help. So if you know more than I do, just kick it in. I just want to be able to kick in, and y'all help me out. The Tyreek Hill situation that happened sometime last week on the way to a football game, and he was speeding. Right, I guess he was speeding, trying to get to the stadium, and the police put him over. Next thing we know, he gets pulled out of the car, put on the ground, handcuffed, knee in his back, all this other stuff. All of these things that happen. And if it wasn't maybe for his celebrity, he might be dead, right? Now, my issue is that all of those things happen, and all those things should be issues, and they are. And hopefully he'll pursue legal recourse in order to get some real serious restitution for that, because the officer or officers need to be fired. They're way out of line, even though he broke the law by speeding, headed to a game, and it wasn't like they didn't know it was him. They could have looked very clearly at him and said, "Hey, look, hey, you got to slow down. You broke the law, wrote him a ticket, whatever." But the thing that bothered me when this came up, and I saw this on Saturday, and I saw it before, but I really saw it on Saturday, was the media immediately mentioned his background and his priors of his background, his prior legal issues that were domestic, to paint him as a criminal. So then you're already trying to justify his treatment because of his priors that were domestic. They had nothing to do with anything on the street. There had no tickets before. They had anything criminal. They had anything else like that. But you're immediately going to criminalize him and turn him into a criminal already through the media painting this picture of, if he does something, it was okay for the police to do this because he's this. And honestly, I really hope he sues for major amounts of money the police department there, because that was completely out of line. And unfortunately, those are things that we all, as African people in America, have to pay attention to by law, because we honestly act like we know the law, but we really don't. Even those of us who claim to know law and really don't know law like we think we don't know law, because these are laws written by somebody else for someone else, and not written in law for the people that were prisoners that are were prisoners of law of war. I hope he really truly um, goes and pursues real serious legal recourse and makes the what's that, Miami-Dade County, make them pay. It really does. I really hope that happens. I hope it happens for him, and I hope it happens for everybody else, to send a message, right? But the other thing that was really sad is that the commentator, and I want to say he might have been Cuban or whatever, on the news, the first thing that he brought out was his priors. It wasn't about this thing that happened then. It was his priors. And he mentioned his prior almost everything that he did. He mentioned his prior domestic situations. He broke his son or daughter's 3-year-old son or daughter's arm. He's been in trouble with the law. But what did that have to do with the fact that he got snatched out of a car and thrown on the ground or put on the ground and wrestled from behind by the neck and knee in his back and all of these other things? And this is the criminalization of African people here in America. And I really typically don't quote too many celebrities because they are who they are. And that's okay. But one thing that I saw DL Hughley say a few years back, and he's a comedian, and I know most of y'all know who he is. He said that the most dangerous place for Black people in America is in the minds of white folks, in their imagination, because the propaganda has already criminalized us. And every time you turn around, it's even more criminal. I'm gonna clutch my purse. I'm moving to the other side of the street. You can't drive through this neighborhood because of this and that and other. And we too have incorporated that many times in our own minds about ourselves and our own group of people, which is kind of sad. Now, that don't mean that it's not criminals on both sides. This country was started by criminals. England, after the first time that they let a group of people out to come over here and colonize this part of the world, let out the psychopaths and the jails and everything else and everybody else, and the dregs of their society, and put them on ships and sent them over here in order to start this country. The colonists. The second time. And the third time. And people come over here and they made millions and billions and billions of dollars and millions of dollars and billions of dollars off of criminal activity, selling people. Criminal activity. Alcohol, which was one time until the 20s prohibited, selling people. But a lot of going back to what we talked about before, a lot of the northern so-called free states were complicit in making money off the molasses and things that they grew, and the cotton and everything that was grown in the South. How you turn around and prohibit something that you made money off of all of the time, that you made rum that you would sell across the world? So, anyway, that's my little spiel about that. I really hope that the young man makes the Miami Police Department pay. But the other part about that is we also have to know the law. Was he speeding? Sure. Should he have been speeding? Not. Probably not. Was he in front of the stadium? I think that's part of the story, that he was in front of the stadium. Miami police could have just stopped him with a warning. Hey, man, slow down. You're going too fast. Oh, okay, you such and such. We headed to the game. We'll give you a warning. Something happens, though, we're going to write you, or just write him a ticket. Now, some people say he should have rolled down his window and did that part, or whatever. He might have even said that in further interviews. Sure. But should have went as far as him being snatched out of his car and put in handcuffs, thrown on the ground, knee in his back. Should have never went that far. But these are things that we have to tell our children and ourselves every single time that we're out. So it's crazy that we have to still watch the mirrors and everything else. And every time you turn around, you see a police car, what happens? Heart rate goes up. They may stop and pull you over for some any random so-called probable cause reason that makes absolutely no sense. And you checking to make sure you got everything in order when that shouldn't even be the case, because they are protecting and serving everybody else. They're only protecting and serving what their designed to protect and conserve. And I believe he said he had an injured leg and he could have been injured further, right? I think that there was something about him having an injury.
But my thing is this: even with you being so-called a millionaire, how they still treat us.
Yeah.
You yanking somebody. Don't get me wrong. I get it that they saying this, but this should be a lesson to all, to us.
To us, period. It doesn't matter.
Even if you're a millionaire, you'll still get through on the ground.
Yeah.
But but that's the police. You got to roll the dice.
Right.
See, he thought because he was a millionaire, he could give his ID, roll his window back up. He forgot, and I hate to say it, like he was a nigga.
Oh, well.
I mean, sometimes you do get confused. You can be confused. And I'm not trying to be vulgar with using the word. I'm just saying that to me what it seemed like, because why would you put them out? And it was, from what I've been hearing, they said during that day, it was like 100-something degrees. You threw them on the ground, had them laid out. What threat was he to y'all finna run away?
You had him surrounded. If you were going to write him a ticket, you write the ticket.
Right.
You write the ticket. Was it a speeding violation? Okay. All of the other stuff, asked me to search my car. None of that. You don't have a right. First and foremost, Fourth Amendment right is you have to see. You want to search my car, and I don't give you permission to. I'm headed to a football game. What did I do? You were speeding. Here's my license registration. Write your ticket.
But you know how they want you to act, though.
Of course.
See, that's what his greatest mistake on is how he responded.
But even at that,
yeah,
write the ticket, because this is all you get. You don't get to pull me out of the car. You don't get to search my vehicle. The Fourth Amendment right says I have a right to refuse or search. You don't have a right. Well, you do.
I mean, is it?
Yeah.
Is it for both? This the question I'm asking. Is it for both? Because evidently it's not.
Well, it's not for. We know it's not for both. The law doesn't apply to only to people that they choose to apply the law to.
That's where it get tricky at.
Right.
This ain't gonna be the first one or the last.
No. We're gonna have far more. We got one of y'all football players that's a millionaire. So we're gonna do that to him, and we get y'all singers and entertainers that we think that we let y'all in our little group to do this little weird stuff y'all like doing. So guess what?
I got another one for you. It's gonna blow your mind how they play us. Jay-Z running a halftime Super Bowl for the NFL. Ain't this strange? Just another conversation about the NFL. Lil Wayne from New Orleans, but yet Kendrick Lamar gonna headline the Super Bowl. Be the halftime show. Kendrick Lamar from Compton,
right,
California,
right.
I can understand, for what Kendrick Lamar did, but when you think Lil Wayne being from New Orleans and the Super Bowl in New Orleans,
well, now that may be political, because you got to look at it. If he was standing over there on the sidelines, hugged up with Trump, that could have been a meme. It definitely very well could have been a meme. Yeah. So
I'm just saying, but look how they're distracted. They distracted.
Yeah, but
from the police.
But the thing is that there's always distractions,
right?
And we always walk around here and we follow the little shiny things, right? We follow those little shiny things, and those distractions are always far more important than us being able to be focused on the task. The task at hand is what? Oh, I don't know. We got so many tasks. No, the task is real simple: liberation.
Right.
Period. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all. No matter how you do it. I don't care nothing about your ism. I don't care nothing about whatever. It's about liberation. Right. But if we let a few people through, based upon what you're sacrificing to give us, no matter what it is, that's all right. We'll put the shiny idea in front of everybody that everybody can do this. No. Years ago, we had far more scholars, and we had scholar athletes, real scholar athletes, right? Then we have all of these athletes that are here now that, once again, and Malcolm said this and other people have said this as well, but Malcolm said this the most important, that you put the microphone in front of the entertainers and you put the microphone in front of the comic space instead of people who study politics and analyze things in the world. And that's what you do. And I'm not saying that everybody don't have something important to say. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But again, once again, what did you say? There's a give them a distraction.
Right.
The issue, no, we still have no justice for Sandra Bland.
Right.
We have no justice for the sister that got killed by the police officer in Milwaukee or Illinois. Here's this young man right here that just got thrown on the ground. So, but we're going to tell you about a halftime show that you guys are going to be watching. Meanwhile, Sandra Bland, nobody's paid for that. And she's dead. Meanwhile, you got this man that got thrown on the ground, and then they criminalize him, talking about, his background immediately. So now when it comes to trial, they're going to say that he was threatening and menacing, and that was nothing of the case when we saw. Then in fact, his tone was, oh, yeah, I got to get to this game.
Right.
Write me the ticket and let me go. That's all.
But you don't have that luxury.
No, of course not.
When you don't have the complexion for the connection.
Well, that's true. Well, then sometimes I guess maybe they might have thought I had the complexion, because I'll tell them, I said, yo, you cannot shine your flashlight in my car. Here's my license and registration. Write the ticket, if that's what it was.
But see, you gotta hope you run into the right officer when you're doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That you all want to prove a point.
Right.
And see, and that's the thing. That's just like when I say, when they be like, don't get me wrong, when you be hearing like, who want to live in an area where you got violence going on, so you asking for more police than here? That's just a natural cry. But what we don't be understanding, if you go look at these other areas, they don't have a big police presence. The areas that are doing good,
right?
They don't have that big police presence. So when you asking for more police to come in, and 9 times out of 10, we know what areas they're gonna be at.
Absolutely.
So so tell me which one of them gonna differ. I mean, gonna be able to tell the good kid from the bad kid.
And most of the time, they don't even pay attention to the good kid or the bad kid. They just, again, this is what D.L. Hughley said. And like I said, I don't quote so-called celebrities. If in your mind, their mind, in their imagination, we're criminals, so you shoot Tamir Rice, 12 years old, playing with a little BB gun. Everybody know the orange tip, what that means.
Right.
But you didn't even stop and talk. You just got out of your car and shot. You got out of your car and shot a kid to death.
Yeah.
And then what happened to the police officer? Oh, you got to slap on the wrist and keep it moving.
Like you just said, Sandra Bland. How many stories do you got, people? Think about the young brother. Did he die? He got paralyzed in Baltimore. They arrested him, but he ended up breaking his neck up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. How do we, you know what I'm saying? And we talking about this justice system, talking about jails. How really is them rehabilitation, or that's just, from my understanding, is another form of slavery? It
is another form of slavery. It has absolutely nothing to do with rehabilitation.
Because I'm saying, you hear the stories that's going on, man getting raped. You hear this stuff. It's like, you looking at it like that's gladiator school.
Right.
That ain't nowhere where you bringing somebody in, or you can hear about how inmates getting beat up, all these different things. You know what I'm saying? Or getting mistreated. You didn't see what wardens, what they done. We didn't have all these different stories. Do that look like that's, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but if you're not interested in rehabilitating a group of people that you're trying to criminalize anyway, it's easy to put them in situations like that. It's easy to put in situations where you have people believe and think that the shiny things that you see, boxers, skin, and in particular, that, and people get mad at him because he said, I ain't doing nothing. I'm just me.
Right.
And that's all right. You shouldn't be your example then. We have far too many people that are greater examples than that. Period. That's it.
Right.
So, but if we sit around and worried about the $18 million watch that he got and all this, man, don't nobody care about that, bro.
Right.
Don't nobody care. Because it's not about, it's our job here is to work with humanity. If your job was here making money, that's cool. That's fine. That's who you are. No problem with that.
Right.
We not on the same level. I don't care how much money you got.
Right.
We not on the same level at all.
Right.
Not in any way, shape, or form. But if you put these people in the face of young people, and then you have people, you see that football all the time. That's the reason why big colleges got all of these players. Why? Oh, you poor. So we're going to help you out and we're going to help you get better, because if you poor, then we can give you all of these things if you go to these universities instead of going over here to the HBCUs, which we can use their money or whatever, and so you can send them down there. Even though we know most HBCUs were started by white folks. Let's be real clear. Go do your research. Now, what do? We go follow the money. Because we can get that way. I'm a ball player. I can get my mama and all the rest of my family. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I can get my mama and my family out of poverty, and we'll all be straight.
Right. Because a lot of these kids, why you think a lot of them be coming? Me and my cousin was just talking today about Archie Manning. I'm talking about the granddad. Not the grandson, the one that's playing
for Texas.
Yeah, but my cousin was like, but I had to tell myself, my old man telling me that the Archie Manning, he said he used to be, when he played for New Orleans, he was like, man, he could run. He could do this and that, throwing the ball. But what Peyton Manning he said that it skipped past him, the athleticism and went to his nephew.
Right.
But the point I was making, I understood why the father, look how particular he was to who his kids got drafted to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's saying he didn't want them to go to a franchise like how he could have been, winning championships or whatever, but he was with the New Orleans Saints.
Right. You know, who was a very poor team at the time. Right. So we don't do so that's really African, right? That's really an African thing. Even though it's football, it's really an African thing where if your child has a propensity to do something, like if you got a son or daughter like animals, then we should all make sure that your son or daughter go to a vet school, right? We don't do that anymore because the shiny things that the media has put in front of us has captured. Oh, I want to have this, and I want to have the flashy car, and I want to have this, and I want to do all this other stuff, and then they put stuff in here. Like I even been watching a little bit of, and this bits and pieces that they show on the shorts of American Gangster talking about Bumpy Johnson.
Right.
And I'm like, what was the reason for even making a story?
Or the Bumpy Johnson story?
Or any of it. What's the reason?
To me, I think, but see, I think the stories of how they did it more Hollywood from when I go watch it, like when I be going over in the conscious community, people that grew up, he was against drug selling. But then when you see these movies,
that's what I'm saying.
Hollywood, they say he was a drug. You know what I'm saying? And how they did it, like to me, it's like they wanted to retell a story and put Bumpy in a position more like he was, he wasn't independent.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel like they want to rewrite history, like, the times, they
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like, but if you go back and look at some of the brothers I done seen in the conscious community, I want to say some of them still living, because some of these guys like almost 70s, and they was back during that time. Right. And when they go tell the stories, it'd be like, man, this ain't how Hollywood told us.
But what I'm saying is they're glamorizing something that he wasn't. Right. If in case that's the fact, right? Right. Because if he was against it, even when gangs started, they were more like the Black Panther Party than they were like what they ended up being now. And who brought the drugs in for them to start to sell? It wasn't them.
Right.
Come on, man.
But that go back to the guns, how you find. And I remember
We keep on talking about that
yeah,
all the time.
yeah, like in Compton, a train. And this was some of the people I'm talking about, these who what you talking about, say when they started this gang stuff, and some of your oldest gangbangers, they in their 70s, they in their 80s.
Yeah.
The oldest one just died. But that ain't what they started it from. It's like you saying, they started it from the Black Panthers, but that's when they started that COINTELPRO.
Right, absolutely.
How they came in.
Right.
And what they did, but it's like the dude, I remember Tyrone Tate, like how he said, man, how we get all these military? He said, first we had 38s, you had the shotgun. He said, but then, when they started coming in with these automatics, he was like, it changed the game.
And the thing is how is it it doesn't matter whether you file the numbers off or however, right? If you have to be 21 to legally own a gun, how is it that these young people getting it?
But this should blow your mind, because I forgot to say, how do you get this train and these gang members knew where to go to? Hit this train, no police there, no nothing.
No nothing. Right. Make sense.
And it just happened to make its way in the hood.
Right. And and continue to proliferate and roll over and over and over and over and over again. If you're not doing anything in the first place by another group of people to criminalize and get rid of you.
But then let's just go to the Iran-Contra. How could you brought the dope in for you can fund a war that you was having over in Nicaragua, if I'm not mistaken. Was that what it was? But Reagan, they had to raise some money with Oliver North. Yeah. And that's how you got Rick Ross caught up in that. You know what I'm saying? He was
okay.
Doing distribution of the dope. So how did he end up going to jail? And y'all gave him the drugs to sell.
Criminalization. This is what I was talking about earlier. If you make in white America's mind, every time that they see somebody black, they're criminal. In their imagination, I'm gonna go by what D.L. Hughley said, because for some reason why I keep on sticking with me, and I typically don't.
Right.
If in the white folks' imagination, that's the scariest place for black people to be, it's easy to criminalize it.
Yeah, no doubt.
So it's easy to criminalize Tyreek Hill by throwing him on the ground and doing all this other stuff to him, because what is he doing driving this, making this type of money? Meanwhile, I'm out here doing it. And I'm not saying that I know police officers, and I know they have a fear for their life.
Right.
I get it. But given the same opportunity on a level playing field, which we are not on, it's easy money.
Look how they shot that. I can't think. I think it was Milwaukee. We just talking about when the police went to the wrong house and shot the.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's like you see this all the time, but I get what you're saying when you in your mind. But see, that goes back to that 3/5.
Okay, well, that will.
No, it goes because that's what if they don't see you as human.
Well, the point of that exercise was this. The whole point of counting African, what Virginia wanted to do, since we have this thing called Constitution Day coming up on Tuesday, which is a bunch of BS. Virginia had a large number of African people in state of war. They wanted to use those numbers to be able to move up their numbers in Congress or the Senate or whatever, so that they would have a stronger voice about being able to keep slavery.
Right.
The compromise, because that's what it's called, 3/5 compromise, was that we will count each person as 3/5 so that you would have the least number of people. So you still have the same number. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So what people have done is they've taken that idea to say that we've only been kind of 3/5 of a human, but it was in order to make sure that Virginia didn't get a large number of constituents in the Congress or the Senate, one of the two, so that they can still continue to vote to have slavery. Right. That's where that comes from. Right. Now, what take PLAs in people's mind is that they only count you as 3/5 of a human. Well, That's true for numbers wise because it's a compromise in order to keep Virginia to have not a large number of people that could vote to keep slavery.
Right.
That's all that was about. Now, is it right? It was right for the moment, but it's not saying that you're less than a human. It was because what Virginia wanted to do, because they had such a large number of people that they had enslaved, we can count all of them so we can get more people to vote and become senators or whatever, so we can have more power to vote to keep what we doing going on. That's where the 3/5 compromise comes from.
I mean, right.
But what's happened is people have internalized it to say that they keep count. We don't count. We not counted as human if you understand Charles Darwin.
Right.
Go study.
But that's still coming from a Western philosophy.
Ideology, absolutely.
Right.
But again, every law has been made to do what? Criminalize African people. Every single law. The Second Amendment was to make sure that African people did not have guns in their house.
Right. Where did that start from? Where did that come from?
That come from the Revolutionary War.
Right.
Okay.
And then what else brought it on? You forgot when the Black Panther Party was.
Oh, that came up later on. Absolutely. That was when Reagan really instituted. And that was y'all President Reagan.
That was in
who,
the
yeah,
70s.
it's 1967.
Right, okay.
1967. You was close. You there. You there. It was 1967
Yeah.
when Reagan said, oh, the Second Amendment, we got to institute the Second Amendment because
Right.
they can't have certain weapons.
Right.
It wasn't even about them going in and breaking out. Who was it that they broke out of? Was it not? It was one of the Jacksons or somebody that they tried to break out of the. And at that point, it was all out war on the Panthers.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I was watching it.
Yeah.
From some of the studio when they call themselves. But see, that was even madness that was put in. Look how ripe that the feds was able to infiltrate that organization.
But listen, okay. Oh, there's somebody Mickey asked him for reference. We put up a book reference once before, Miss Rodriguez. But this is from study of years and years of study. This ain't just out of no book. This is cross-reference stuff. This is go back and read other stuff. This is one good book to go get is Counter and Tell Pro. Because it even talks about this even mentions Che Guevara in there.
Right.
Bro. And I knew he was rough, but I didn't know it was that rough. But go back to the point that you just made so we can answer it. I just wanted to answer it.
No problem. You was talking about the point I just made.
Yeah. Because we get to rolling and then there we go.
Just made me forget to go what was I just
Reagan and
fires with in the guns. With the
yeah, absolutely.
With Bobby Seale when they went. But I said what they had COINTELPRO when you see a lot of the stuff that was going on.
Yes.
How they was infiltrating, they was getting into the wars with the police, knowing they didn't want to go do that. They wasn't talking about how the police was shooting up a lot of their meetings.
Right.
Even sending people in there that was on drugs, knowing that would be easy for them.
But it's been easy for us to to become boule. Use that term.
Right.
And go ahead on and destroy things that was for our liberation, to go in and say we'll destroy that person who's trying to lead us somewhere else.
Okay.
And it's been easy for us to sell out for nothing because you don't get nothing in the end. In order to become J. Edgar Hoover was gay. In order to become an agent, you had to come see J. Edgar Hoover. Now, I don't know exactly what might have happened,
right?
But still, if that's come on, man.
I mean, if you go look how he did Martin Luther King, you can watch some of these movies. Sometimes they'll put little tidbits in it, but I know they can't go all the way there because they still got to keep it Hollywood. That's why I tell people, if you like Hotel Rwanda, go watch Sometimes
Absolutely.
It Rain in
I got to
April.
watch that movie.
Yeah, Sometimes It Rain in April is a little better than. I'm not saying
no, yeah,
not a good one, but they kept it Hollywood.
Right.
You know what
I'm saying? Absolutely.
The one down cheap Hotel Rwanda.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like when you see the gangs is being perpetrated, it's like it's the way it's set up. So
Right.
that's why I see people when you get told, okay, it's 3/5, because look how you being treated.
Right, absolutely.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
But that's because of if you've criminalized how in the world are you gonna say I'm gonna fight for freedom from my oppressor over in England? But yet when another group of people say they want to fight for freedom from my oppressor, that you're holding me hostage, that is wrong.
Right. No, it's true facts.
So therefore, you criminalize it. You say, okay, the country's supposed to be founded on Christian principles, 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill, but you're killing black people indiscriminately, any way that you want to,
Right.
because you don't consider them to be human. It was okay, chattel slavery, chattel. That
Right.
means cattle, anything that you can sell,
Right.
and you don't consider them to be human.
Right. And you can just
So-
come up to modern day time about this water. Why the water not fixed?
Because you don't care.
People, and then you down there be you will get demoralized from your own for you saying we need.
And once again, we're talking about the same thing, right?
Right.
So it's easy to send somebody in to an organization that's going to talk about doing better for you, and you doing better for your group of people, and y'all doing better, and we need you to go in and destroy that. We need to find some criminal about that so we can destroy that.
Right.
Okay, I'll go in and do it, and we'll do it.
Right.
We'll do it off of what? Something shiny.
Right. No different than with this water. I come in and say the water good.
Wait a minute though. When I saw pictures of the things that they showed that's natural buildup of water going through pipes for 100 and some years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you put substances in the water, then something got put in the water to cause that to happen, that reaction.
Right. But they don't see that.
They don't want to see it.
Yeah, but like you just said, how can you get somebody coming in these organizations and come in and come mess this up? How you get somebody to come in and say, yeah, the water good. Oh, you get in, you know what I'm saying? We've been going this for 10 years.
It's easy.
Right.
It's real easy to get somebody to come in and say, I'm going to mess the organization up because it's easy for me to do because I don't care. All I'm concerned about is what is that person going to say, or what am I getting out of the deal to go do it? Right? So every organization that African people in America have put together in order to bring about change and liberation, we celebrate Marcus Garvey now, but he wasn't celebrated then.
Oh, none of them that we be celebrating then. That people act like Martin. I love how they say they love Martin Luther King.
No, they don't.
Doing his end. Who the church wasn't fond of him.
No.
He wasn't the darling of the country no more.
No, nobody.
Oh yeah, but they forget that part though.
Yeah,
that's
nobody.
They forget.
Right. As long as he was talking about something else, he was good. But as soon as you start talking about the war and against the war, people dying and drugged out and all this other stuff, yeah. But this is, and then you had agents inside on purpose, sent by the government inside in order for you to bring him down even quicker than he did. As the intention was to get rid of him anyway. The intention wasn't for him to stay, and it was easy. They did it in African countries. They did it in countries over here. Here, people over here. Oh, you speaking out against America? We just kill you. But again, the most dangerous place for Black people to live is in the imaginations of white folks.
And I get what he's saying on that, because I heard when BL said that too. I remember I understand what he's saying because how they look.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How they try to feel. Because like I said this the other day on the bump. We accept everybody in our community.
Oh my God, everybody.
But everybody don't accept us and theirs.
No.
And that's what I think. That's what the problem at. Like if we try to even build something together, it's believe me, I'm not being disrespectful, but I'm just saying if you trying to build something with us,
Right.
you're always gonna have somebody. No, we gotta bring
Absolutely,
Charlie in on this.
yeah.
Or you're gonna have one reporting back. We know what's going on. Like most of the people, when people don't really understand when they be saying gatekeepers, I'm just the protectors of the uphold this system that's going on.
Right.
Like how they, like you said, how they was against Marcus Garvey, and that was the talented 10th.
That was a talent. It was a talented 10th, and it was people inside of his organization that pulled to destroy his organization too.
But you had them going, and but you got, but that's even when they talk about Haiti with Toussaint Overture.
Right.
What he did, he didn't understand from the little bit that I read how he even went back and you got yourself arrested.
Yep, man, saying dying in France in a prison.
And you thought, how could you think that when you freed yourself, you was going to be able to go back and be diplomatic with
the people that you...
And they still hold a grudge against Haiti to this day.
Yeah.
For what they did. That's why you see, because it's supposedly be an independent, the first black independent country in the West.
Right.
But you see how that's being played, how that's being ravaged, and what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. The United States is at their knee on this next census independence in 1804.
How you separated the people.
Right.
But it's saying like that's what they constantly do, but they use us. It's no different as far as what I'm telling you with that Hotel Rwanda where they had the Hutus and the Watusi.
Yeah.
It's the same playbook where they'll have it just over here. It's called the House Negro and the Field Negro.
Malcolm. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's the same method that they've been putting all around.
Right.
But it's the same. We take if it's the lighter versus the darker. You know
which is what we were talking about with colorism last week. It's the same thing. Yeah. And the thing is folks don't understand, regardless of it being the same thing, you're still not going to be free. You're still not going to be liberated. So therefore, we talking and then I'm like, man, I don't like what Mickey talking about, but I'm going to go ahead on and hang out with him. And then when he get too big, I'm going to sell him out. I'm going to chop his knees off. What do I get? I get absolutely nothing. What are they promising me? Nothing. For what? Yeah. But this is how they trained us. And I'm going to say it again.
Facts.
This is how they trained us.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. When you because look how we with each other. Just look how we deal with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We are worst on enemy.
But they trained us that way.
They trained as good as you can train a basketball player or a football player.
Yeah, they trained us that way.
Yeah, because look how right now, just like what we were saying earlier before we came on as far as resources, how many in the black community will go out and try to pull other ones up? None.
No, because I got mine and I don't want you to do better than me. And that's dumb.
Right.
Because that's like I've seen and know where people don't want their children to be better than them. What kind of foolishness is that? How in the world would you not want your children to be better and do better than you? You laid the foundation. Somebody else laid the foundation before you. And then you're going to betray your children by not wanting them to be better than you?
Well, how we don't know group economics?
That's because we don't trust each other.
That's why I say that we've been did a good deal of number on it, because it go back to what you said. If I get it, that's good enough. That's why I'm like, when you're looking at stars as far as the Oprah Winfrey, the Jay-Z's, all these black billionaires that we got, they didn't try to put one think tank together for you can build something like that. But every other group, they have these type of things that they put together where they work on their community.
Yeah.
We the only ones who seem to like we don't get it. We be too busy fighting, but we'll go join over here. We'll go join on this cause, but we won't join on the cause to unite.
We are part of every cause,
right?
Except for the cause of our own liberation.
Right.
We're part of everything. We'll do anything for any other group, for anything else that has absolutely nothing to do. We won't even be fighting for the cause of us being brothers and sisters and having some wholesome sanity in our own family. Because somebody been told that you gotta have what is this new thing now? You gotta have a bag, but you can't get the bag together.
Right.
or now people. I saw some crazy. It's just we've been trained to be insane.
Right.
We've been trained to be insane.
Yeah.
So then it's easy for things like what happened to Tyreek Hill happen, what happened to other people happen, because look how crazy it looks.
Right. And to me, because I was watching the Sports Center when Stephen A, because he seemed like he the great Negro that they go bring that try to stand up for
That's
the
because he loud and he
establishment.
making a run in his
Because
mouth.
he had to stand up because he was trying to defend. Well, you got to do this and that. Anytime I got to tell you what you have to do, that should tell you all you need to know. Because you ain't no other parent, no other nationality.
No.
Gotta go tell their kids how to perform if you get pulled over. And that's where the insanity is kicking in. That I'm just saying, as far as the
absolutely
brown people. You know what I'm saying? You don't, we don't, and I understand where we at. I understand we're in America, what's going on.
Yeah.
But that is crazy in 2024. That's why it's like when I be hearing, like, because we upon the election, the president election, quit trying to give me, which I know how I'm voting. I done told everybody it's no secret, but quit trying to act like this is the all and be all. We finna get this help.
We're not gonna get any help. Right. We're not getting any help.
And it's like
it's not gonna get any help. The only help we're gonna get is I'm gonna help you. You're gonna help me.
And it's like we study playing the game,
right?
With the left hand, and the right hand.
Yep.
But we know what's going on. Because my thing is this: how many more times? Because I heard about it. Don't get me wrong. I looked at the Project 2025, but when I wake up and I'm looking how Flint is being operated, I'm seeing Project 2025.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So then, at what point in time do we start telling our children that you don't have to have your life here in America, that you can go somewhere else to make a living?
But really, just think about it like this: could you really take some out here unprepared? Are the kids?
And most of us, no, we're not, and that's the other thing, because this is not a system prepared to educate for liberation. We talked about this before. Right. If we're not willing to say, we're gonna let's bring a group of young people to whatever. Right. Church is not gonna do it. So I'm not even interested in talking about no church, because they too scared, because then you're gonna run away our money, because it look like we got some radical group of black people talking about doing something that we should be doing, but we're not gonna do it because that's not what we're here for. But, and yes, that was a jab, a big one, and a right hook, and the left hook getting ready to come. But we're not ready to, we're not willing to take young people and say, this is how we need you to operate in school. This is how we need you to learn different things. This is how we need you to operate in certain ways, because we don't want to do it ourselves. That's work. That requires work. That requires me peeling off the layers of all of this trash and go like, I don't need to do that anymore. I need y'all to learn these skills so you can go and do this thing somewhere else.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. How many is like in our community? What I'm saying, as far as in the black family, can you really go take? Cause look how we've been treated now. They bring it. You know what I'm saying? They bringing in new workers.
Yeah.
Let's just be real. They bringing in new workers.
Then that's just to eliminate you, to put you somewhere else.
Yeah, and it goes back to that 400-year-old problem.
Yeah. Us. Yeah. Yeah. But because we listened to one person that said we built this country, we want to stay here.
But see, I mean,
we were forced to build this country. We didn't do it voluntarily, neither did the Chinese, but they decided to make communities for themselves. Yeah. Neither did the Mexicans, but they decided to make communities for themselves. The only group of people that didn't make them, when we tried to make communities, they got destroyed. But now we let anybody in our community.
But that's the thing. That's why I think our problem came in, because we be looking at what's been destroyed. But this goes back to this. Just because that might have been hardship, that don't mean you stop now.
No, you keep on building.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that's where it went from. We went just looking at all our industries that we've been a part of, even with the Negro League.
Yeah.
It seemed like we were so, and I understand the pressures. Who know what pressure the people was on? They don't never tell you the full detail, but when you get to real history, you'll find out where they was talking about they was gonna hang their whole family, because a lot of that stuff, like, people don't understand when they took over in Chicago, like Quincy Jones, who started the policy, they had to leave Chicago and go to Tennessee.
Right.
And at that time, I think he took, like, what was it, 10 million, what was equivalent to about, what, 40, 50 million during this time. That's when, and they killed, I can't think of my man's name, but they really didn't understand. They let the white man in.
Well, the person who was running the Negro, and I think this is in William Rhoden's book, $40 Million Slaves. And I think that let them in is because what happened was when white teams would play the black teams it was entertainment,
right?
And they would wear the white teams out,
right?
So then they was like, well, we got to bring in some of these black people, Josh Gibson, Satchel Paige. Satchel Paige pitched at 59, right? But it was 40, and it was an anomaly, right?
Right.
But again, it was, if there was something that we couldn't get out of it, what was the reason for doing it? That doesn't stop them from criminalize you, because once you, like you said, either you sell us or we'll take your life.
But see, we don't know what it was for them. I'm just assuming. I'm just saying you don't be hearing these stories, but when you seen how they did with Brownsville, Chicago, and I can't think
Oscarville and in Georgia, where Lake Lanier's over.
And it show how they misplay, you know what I'm saying? How these communities, and they took someone by force.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when you looking at it, it was like, and a lot of that was born out of because they kept out of industry. So when you looking at it, the blacks ain't have no banks to go to get loans from, and this where.
Okay, now saying that, right? Let's follow that line. So we're going to make it so that you can't get jobs. Right. We're going to make it so that there's you can't run a household. We're going to make it so that you might have to use the welfare system. So then we're going to give you something to put in place. So we criminalize you even more by putting that we're going to put this other substance that you can sell in your own community. Right? And then when we start locking you up and we do this, see, we told y'all, but this is once again done by somebody else.
See, to me, I guess a lot of people don't be understand. They be thinking when they say they don't understand how wicked people can be brilliant.
Yeah.
And they don't be understanding. That's, to me, it's like they don't be understanding how a wicked person can be brilliant. Because believe it, when you putting this down, these ain't no stupid people putting this game down. Listen,
one of the most brilliant there are two horror story writers, right?
Right.
One of them was a drug addict, and that was Edgar Allan Poe, and I love his work. Okay, he was a cokehead, right? Coca-Cola, and they kind of used to have cocoa in it. Right. And women who had to work would give their babies bottles of the Coca-Cola so they would go to sleep and sleep all night while they could go to work. And then wonder the reason why later on they had drug addicted children. It's history. Coca-Cola had to change their formula. Had to change their formula so that. But why do you think they call it the real thing? Remember the commercials back in the day?
The real
thing. It used to be called the real.
Right. No, I get it, but a lot of us don't be understanding that.
That's because we don't pay attention to the propaganda.
Right, that you be seeing that be put out there.
It's always out there all the time. Yeah. It's always out there all the time.
But
it's
it be
propaganda.
Us too who be going along with the propaganda.
Yeah, because we got to be the boule. Yeah, we got to play the boule.
Yeah. Oh, but that's what I'm saying. See, a lot of people, don't get me wrong, I do like them brothers that during that time, what they was doing. But to me, they had a lot of Toussaint Overlatour in them, meaning they didn't know how to free themselves.
They wasn't intentional. It wasn't intentional to be free.
And they wanted to be still part of that system. So you gonna look what he did. He still wanted to run it like how they was taught. And that's, to me, it seemed like that's what their talent and 10th was, when they saw something going against the system that they feel like, okay, they gave us something. We got this. We got this. We got something we can build our own. But really, you was really just to be the gatekeepers
for somebody else, and that wasn't the intention that Dr. W.B. Du Bois in developing the idea of the talented 10th.
Right.
His intention was that we can intellectualize and move ourselves out of this because he grew up in the North. Right. Even though that there was systematic slavery in the North, it didn't look as bad as what it was that Booker T. Washington came up under in the systematic slavery of the South.
Right.
So that was the clash there. And then, like you mentioned earlier, right? So now that you got this talent and 10th, it was like, oh no, well, we ain't got to do none of this. We can do whatever we want to.
Right.
We can do something different. We ain't got to be. And then now they get married off to people that don't look like them.
Right.
And so they create this other thing. Now if you don't look like, and see, I brought your book. We can talk about it this time. Next time we
got
you. So now you got the brown paper bag theory stuff and all of this other stuff, the creation of these organizations that were supposed to do things for liberation, but end up getting co-opted because they end up turning against the real thing that they should be fighting for.
Right, liberation.
Right, but they didn't start out that way.
Right.
We can't get in your group. We're going to do our own thing over here.
Right.
But the whole point was liberation, but it gets co-opted by another idea because there's always going to be somebody in the organization.
Yeah, that's willing to sell out.
That's going to sell out what you're talking about for no matter what, the smallest thing. Because we'll find somebody so we can criminalize you.
Right.
What are these? You can't, now they call it loitering, right? All of that came from criminalizing because of what happened in the 1800s, 1800s. You got a group of black men standing around. They could be doing nothing. Now it's called loitering because they could be planning an insurrection.
Right.
It's criminalization.
Right.
And that's never going to leave.
Oh, most definitely. And I think that's what we, we don't get it, but it's like, how much more do you want us to do that we got to please you? Because if you,
well, why are we trying to please them?
And that's what I be seeing from our people who do get
us.
They be like,
it's just they become part of the system.
It be like, if you tell the truth, it's wrong. Or if you say you want something, if you ask for tangibles, you're wrong. What is so wrong for us? Everybody else is getting tangibles.
Because we owned you.
Right. And
we owned you. We formally owned you, so I don't owe you anything.
Yeah, and then this how they keep us fooled and separated. How they separate the man from the woman on this.
Man, what?
They gonna mess with our uterus. So they put, you know what I'm saying? I don't want nobody telling me what I do with my private parts. And I agree wholeheartedly. But we shouldn't always, but do we still gotta put that do we gotta put ours on the back burner to get y'all gonna get y'all's right? Which I wholeheartedly be a woman should be able to, whatever she want to do with her body part. But we still got this problem about getting freedom for blacks.
Yeah.
And I think that's what be distractions when it be like, not, they putting us against them like, well, damn, but we got to get this, but still don't put what we got on the back burner neither. Because still we need to have that why every 25 years we got to vote to keep the vote. But when you telling me to vote Democrat and hold up, well, Democrats had the House, the Senate, and had the White House.
Right.
And you mean to tell me, but then you hear crickets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's like, okay, we're gonna give you something to fight on this one. If we keep going by that rule, how we doing it, it might be another 400 years.
That's the intent.
We get what we want, because they're gonna keep getting, okay, let's get a women this, okay, but they're gonna forget about this. It's like you forgetting that you still have a issue here. How you dealing with the blacks? So
even at that, real quick,
right?
Even at that, when we talk about that issue, right, and you hear a lot of women, and you hear them about we more highly educated, but they've given you more opportunity. They have given you more opportunity. I did a little bit of research, and I found out that there were over 100 different minority contracts for women.
Right.
And like less than 10 or 20 minority contracts for men. Right. So all of these women, they're allowing to go to school, right, on scholarships or whatever. And it's our fault as men. We don't take school seriously unless it's sports related.
Right.
Right. But contractually they did, but that's also a division, and it's doing it on purpose. It still don't mean they don't criminalize you. They just don't need demand.
Right.
I can use her
Right.
for more than one purpose.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. Like why they study pushing
because it's division.
And we seem to don't see it.
No, we see it, but we just dumb enough not to want to sit down and say we don't need to voice that, and we can just let's talk amongst ourselves.
Yeah, put that in with the liberation of.
Well, see, if we do that ourselves, and that's what happened in the '60s. The reason why they had to destroy a lot of those groups that was coming up as Nick Core, Black Panther Party. The SCLC became important until Black Power became important.
Right.
Is you have to break those parties up, right? Because we're talking about being unified. Even with at that point, and part of it we go back with poor whites and Mexicans and gays and everybody else. Now we're gonna be a group because we all being oppressed.
Right.
Then you have to break it up and turn it into something different.
Right.
So you have to criminalize stuff. But who do you criminalize the most? Criminalize the black man.
Right.
So then if you criminalize him, then these other groups are not going to be interested in listening to him or them because he got a criminal past.
Right. Yeah. That's why I'm like, man, I'm not that's why I say I'm not I get it, but we also got to do what ours because everybody getting something but us.
Well, if we make $1 trillion or however much money it is,
we'll be the 9th richest country
in the world, but we make it through somebody else.
We give it all back.
Yeah, 98% of it, 95% of it.
Yeah, we give it all back.
Give it all back. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about that all the time.
Yeah. Every other community, the dollar at least circulate.
Yeah, we 6 hours.
Yeah, not
in and out.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. We need to go back to what we need. We need to become not just consumers, but we should own industries.
Right. We should.
Yeah, we should be on.
We should. But we own houses and cars and watches and a bunch of other stuff that we get from somebody else.
Yeah. We should be going back, buying a block back. Why not?
Well, who was that? Was somebody that was doing it? Yeah.
Epps,
yeah, he's doing it. Yeah, he's doing it in Chicago, right?
Nah, Indiana.
Indiana's where he's from.
Yeah,
right.
He's doing that. Why not go? You want to build back up, but we got to deal with the hatred that's in our community.
Yeah.
And the like we got so many things that's dealing with the black family that we got to deal with, along with self-hatred.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, we got
we were kind of talking about that last week, which is the reason why I was talking about if you have group esteem, right? If you understand who you are as a group, then you have less hatred for each other. Even though other people may be foul to somebody like you or me, that's them. That ain't me.
Right.
I ain't got to be foul with you.
Right.
I just move away from you. That's cool. I ain't got nothing else to say to you. Because I love my group more than I love you. I ain't got to love you. You ain't part of my group with the way you acting.
Right. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
For now. Unless we decide that we better change, because if not, what it's going to be is not going to be what it is.
Right. But like Harriet Tubman said, if she could have freed more if they knew they were slaves.
And we don't know. We think we free.
Right. That's why I said it. It's like they don't understand what we understand.
No, we think we free. We get on social media and do this and do that. And I appreciate this because it's a forum for me to be able to say things that other people won't, don't want to listen to, because they think, oh, you do it, no, whatever. Right. I don't care nothing about none of them other people talking about nothing. This is the city that I live in, and I do work here, whether people know it or not. And I don't need people to know it. Right. You want to do some work? Let's go to work.
Yeah. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Let's go to work.
Until we can, like I say, in this black community, because we have these same problems in every area. It's just a little different. Different.
Yeah, it's all the same. It's all. If you're in a black area, it's all the same. It ain't no different. You're just in a different area dealing with the same stuff. That's all. Yeah. But every other group is coming in and making money off you.
Right.
So we ain't poor.
No.
We just don't spend our money wisely.
Right.
And that's where the education has to change. become, because we can't constantly be criminalized because I play sports, but yet I'm not buying a block.
Right. They would love to have a bunch of as they use it, the dumb jock.
Yeah, absolutely.
They love that.
They love that. Yeah, because you train them to be stupid. You train them just to go out there and this is all you do.
Yeah.
But at what point in time do you train them to do something different? And I'm not saying come out here and be somebody's savior, but you get educated enough in order for you to understand that, look, if you're gonna be with me, if you're gonna hang with me, it's like I don't understand this new thing with athletes, not to research it, about how they get money.
Right.
They getting big money, right? So I'm hearing that some athletes worth $20-30 million or whatever already,
Right.
and you really don't have to worry about playing professional ball or whatever. However, whatever. I don't know how it works. I got to check it out. But how are you empowering those people around you? How are you making those people? Oh, we just out balling off your dollars? No. Let me help you learn how to make. You can teach your children how to learn how to make, so you can take and keep going on generationally after that. But we're not going to go out here and do anything dumb because they already see us as criminals.
Right.
And it's okay to get you something nice and flashy for you every once in a while.
Right.
See, for people like you and me, I don't care how flashy you got stuff. I need to know what's going on in your head. Your flashiness don't mean nothing to me. I don't care about your watch, your car. What's happening between your ears?
Yeah, because you notice when they retire from the league, only a handful of them, percentage-wise, still be successful. The majority of them go back to being broke.
Yeah, because you gave your money to buying this and that and other, and it is what it is. Yeah. But you're not my circle.
Right.
You're not my circle. I don't care nothing about what this boxer does or what this what's name does or this ball player does. And all of them got this and that and other and all this other stuff. And y'all sit up there and the only thing that I'm out here, most of y'all talk about is sports. And that's cool. But what are you doing about anything else?
Right. But see, they don't want. Why you think when you look at certain ones, before we shut it down, I go back to Craig Hodges. Got him out the league.
Man, but you know who did that? Got him out the league. Jordan got him out the league.
Yeah, because you know when he went to Bush about helping. You know what I'm saying?
You see what he was wearing.
Yes, but you see what type of person. But this is what I'm saying. But they put Jordan to the front, and I want to be like Mike because they get the ones. And I remember my old man always tell me this. He said it was better players than Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what it was you wasn't finna hit them with no balls like how they didn't have a temperament.
Right.
Said I forgot. He said it was young Blake. He said, man, he would have went out there and killed one of them. Like he said, you know, they couldn't bring them letting certain ones.
Right.
Because the ones they brought up, they knew they could basically do them any kind of way. They would take it without flipping.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, so now in Jackie Robinson's biography,
right,
he was taught how to deal with that by the person who owned the Dodgers at that time. It wasn't that he just was out there and that was his temperament. It wasn't his temperament.
Right.
He was taught that this is what's going to happen. I'm going to need you to just be able to grin and bear it.
Right.
Come on, man. Make that make sense.
You see what Reggie Jackson said back in
That's what I'm saying. And this was only in the 60s, and we talking about Reggie Jackson now.
Yeah, and Reggie Jackson just did this year in 2024,
right.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he just did that.
When they was down in the South, people keep forgetting how that's that.
Bear Bryant.
Yeah, people forget what it is, but see, like Rump Arena, Coach Rump.
Yeah.
As you really go back and watch that. But see, these people that they put up in our face, they go celebrate them, saying these is good people. Like they make Bear Bryant and Coach Rump like they some Ronald McDonald type individuals.
So one of my brothers down in Detroit, his name is Jamon Jordan, historian.
Right.
He's been talking about Cass, right? Louis Cass was a state, either he was a senator or he was a governor from Detroit. He owned slaves in Michigan. And Cass High School is named after him. Cass Tech, right. Yeah. Okay. And a street's named after him. And he was like that, been campaigning for years about that being changed. Yeah. So, and even with the schools around here, look at the names of them.
Yeah.
Most of those people have not been people that have been for the people that go to those schools.
Right.
Central is named Central only because it's centrally located in the city.
Mm.
And it was the center of where the industry was.
Mm.
And it was supposed to be an industrial school. One of the first schools, if I recall, I could be wrong, that was integrated.
Mm. That's why it's so historic to them
That's the
right
reason
now.
why it's so historic.
And
to
they don't
people.
want to. They want to be. I get
No,
it.
yeah.
I get
But
it.
the thing is then if you're gonna do something, then put the money. It's not the money like the money's not here.
Right.
Then put the money in it. Go renovate Central and Whittier and turn it into what you want to turn it into. You're gonna have to gut it because it's already told with people been going in there vandalizing.
Yeah.
If the outside structure's still there, if it's not, then tear it down and rebuild it. You still can make it look historic and old as you want to.
Yeah.
Then you can make it efficient and do it over again. But if you want to, and we ain't the ones setting fire to these schools.
Facts.
We don't do that. We that ain't in our stuff.
It's just to me that it's like, and that's why I say with the Project 2025, you can see as far as the school system.
Oh
How
yeah,
you strip
all of
everything out of Flint.
Yeah.
But you go to the outskirts, but yet I'm still trying to figure out how you going to bring all these kids back when you can see the dysfunction is from the school board to the superintendent. All the stuff that you see going on. How are you going to bring all these kids back? You're going to convince these parents to tell them, take your kids out the outer schools and bring them back to the.
But see, this is the thing. If a parent takes a child to an outer school, the outer school has a set of expectations.
Right.
And you're going to follow it. I don't care where you come from.
Right.
I don't care what you did. I don't care if you only get one meal a day. Be Muslim. I don't care. Sorry, no joke. I apologize if somebody gets offended by that. But it wasn't meant to be that way. And if you're offended, you'll be okay. But if you eat one meal a day and you're coming out here, this is how you're going to carry yourself. We demand that. Where do you go to Swartz Creek or Clio or Flushing or Grand Blanc and see people riding down the street and throw trash out in the street?
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that. They demand that. You won't do that.
That's the point that I'm saying. How can you get that?
Because you're not demanding our best.
Right.
And it comes from the top down.
Right.
If you're not demanding our best, then you don't belong here. And I don't care where you're going to go. We'll put you outside in a barn until you get it together. We don't want to do that because we want everybody to get a medal and everybody to, and I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I ran the Crim this year. To be honest, I didn't win first. I was just barely whatever. And I got a medal. Right. And I got a medal, but that wasn't a medal for being first place at 61. I don't care nothing about that. I was racing against me.
Right.
And I appreciate that, I got something for the month, for the few dollars I put in for it. But if I'm racing, and I don't come in first, I don't want second or third.
Right.
We're not in a race anymore.
Mm-mm.
We're in a placation. As long as we placate we get placated and we're okay. We're not talking about winning the race. We're not talking about that.
And that's the stuff that we need. I be feeling like we need more forward thinkers, people who can see it. Because if you go ask this, current, you can't nobody tell me from this current board to the superintendent how they gonna sit up here and gonna approve what's going on when you already looking at you got your kids really in a high school that's ran down. They should have been in a new school by now. You know what I'm saying? Even with them fixing that up, like you say, over there they fixing homes in Brownell up. Mm-hmm. But you ain't fixing up the area around it.
No, because when it was a community school, right? When the community school initiative came out back in the late 60s, it was about community.
Right.
It wasn't about just the schools here and we send your kids home when it was over with. We had teen club.
Right.
We were staying at school till 6, 7 o'clock after school. And you would do your homework before you could go play, do anything. You ain't got to, and everybody that stayed after school had to. Right. So, did your homework? Your homework got checked by the community school director. I remember Mr. James Watkins, who played semi-pro football,
Right.
was our community school director. And I didn't know that he was my dad's Boy Scout till I tried to be on some mess.
Right.
And he was one of my dad's Boy Scouts. And I walked home. He beat me home. Why you here at my house? Because, see, that's accountability.
Yeah.
So after the one time, I was straight. I didn't do that mess no more. I did stuff and I got caught doing it. But it was when they called they didn't call my mama, they called my daddy.
Yeah.
See, that's another thing. That's missing. Yeah. Like a community. So they kept me on the straight because, because, hey, bro, this not how you rolling. We need you to do something different. You're going to do that.
Yeah, facts.
Now, other people may have made that decision to do what they wanted to do, but, some of us couldn't do that.
And I agree.
But folks we don't have our priorities together with a lot of what we think we're doing because it's not very difficult. You have to demand it. You can't demand. I'm sorry that you want to demand it from me as a teacher. You're going to demand my excellence, but I can't demand my excellence from my parents and my students.
Got a point there. Got a point there. You got any last thing you want to say to the family?
Well, fam, we appreciate all y'all didn't show up like y'all did before, but I know this is Sunday and y'all had something else to do. We appreciate y'all showing up. Unfortunately, we still have to teach our young men and our young women that we have to be careful going out on our daily excursions and study the law and teach them the law so that we don't have to continue to hear these blasphemous things that are happening all over the world to us as African people in the world. Just we have to be careful. We have to walk a different beat because we different and not because we just like everybody else. So thank you, family, for having us today. We went over our time by a little bit. I appreciate that, though, from my brother. And peace, fam. Till the next time.